Yeah.
Good. All right. So the hardest question, if you could spell your first and last name.
Matthew Pointer, Matthepointer.
And how long have you been an electric vehicle owner?
I've owned this car for a month.
And what kind of car do you own?
It's a Tesla Model 3.
Okay. And so why'd you switch?
I made the switch because it's a much better car all around. The performance is better, the handling is better, it's much cheaper to operate. I don't have to buy gasoline, and the overall cost of ownership is much less when you factor in ownership and mechanical costs and stuff. As well, it's just better for the environment. It's a more sustainable thing that I can run from the solar panels on my roof.
Saskatchewan's got a pretty cold winter. How does it handle?
So far, it's been great. It's got a thermally managed battery pack, which keeps the batteries warm in the wintertime. So I don't really notice much of a range difference. My car's rated to drive 500 kilometers in the dead of winter, and so far it's been holding pretty close to that. I might maybe lose as much as 10% of my overall mileage, which is very similar to what a gasoline car would have.
Is it harder to charge in the cold?
No, it's basically as simple as plugging in on 110 outlets or 240 if you have a specialized plug in your garage. It does spend a little bit of power to manage the battery pack and keep the battery pack warm, but overall it does a good job. So.
Amazing. Yeah. So is it just a normal wall plug or?
So yeah, if you only have a 110 volt plug in your garage, that works just fine. For most people in Canada, you typically only drive 40 or 50 kilometers back and forth to work every day, and a standard 110 plug is more than enough to be able to get you enough juice to be able to turn back around and head back to work the very next day. Some people opt to go up one level to a 240 volt plug, and that pretty much quadruples the amount of mileage you can put into the car overnight. So a lot of people would have that range back in less than an hour if they're plugged in on a 240 volt. So it just kind of depends on where you're at and how many miles you drive in a day and what your needs are as far as the vehicle goes.
So you've got your vehicle for about a month now. Are you seeing more people with electric vehicles in Saskatchewan?
Absolutely, yeah. It's amazing how many more cars I'm starting to see on the road. Basically EVs in Canada and in Saskatchewan have been doubling year over year since 2012, and we're only expecting it to grow more and more as time goes on. People are starting to see the cost of ownership being so much less. Having not to buy gas anymore is kind of a bonus for some people as well. And then also it's just a great car to drive. It's really fun. The performance is excellent. It's got massive amounts of torque. The handling is incredible. So it's kind of the best of everything all rolled into one.
Yeah, is there a message for, I guess, diesel guys that are kind of heart-bent on diesel?
I don't have any hate for diesel people or people that drive gasoline cars. I'm not about that. I would just like them to check out the torque and the handling of the car, and just kind of see what things are like with an electric drivetrain. All the modern supercars now that are coming out are actually all hybrids, and the reason why is because they all have electric torque to get themselves going off the start line as quick as they can, and then they back up with a gasoline engine to take them into those higher speeds. So there's a lot of good reason for electric drivetrains now, and that's why so many manufacturers are starting to move towards them here in the next few years.
Infrastructure-wise, is there enough charging stations in the city?
There is not, and that's something we're lobbying for with the Saskatchewan Electrical Vehicle Association. We're moving towards trying to get more public charging out there, and that doesn't necessarily mean free charging. EV owners are very open to paying for their charging needs, just like people pay for gasoline. It's more of a convenience factor, right? So people in the city would like to see more chargers downtown, maybe closer to parks and things where people would congregate, movie theaters, shopping malls, places like that. And then when you get out on the highway, that's also where we're really lacking, especially in the high-speed charging infrastructure. In Saskatchewan, we don't have any high-speed chargers whatsoever, and that's something we're really hoping to move towards with Sask Power in the next few years here.
And I guess for rebates, is there anything available for drivers?
There is no rebates whatsoever here in Saskatchewan. We don't get any special discounts on our cars of any kind. We basically just pay the regular price as anyone else would, and go from there. So.
Yeah, another concern that people have is just the cost of just getting into an electrical vehicle. Is it too hard to get into, or is there kind of cost-friendly?
No, there's all different prices all across the board, and depending on what your budget is, you can get into a $10,000 Nissan Leaf, and that car will save you thousands of dollars a year, just a Nissan Leaf from a few years ago. And it, just like any other car, right, you can spend as much or as little as you want, but there is a lot more higher range, higher mileage models that are coming out year after year as the price of the batteries comes down. So the next big car coming out, like Chevy Bolt and the standard range Tesla Model 3 and a few others from Nissan with their new Leaf that's coming out. Every iteration of the car that comes out, the batteries become cheaper, the car becomes more user friendly, and the end user gets a better experience for less money. So as more and more manufacturers jump on board with the electrification of automobiles, you're going to see more and more people driving them because they're just that much more affordable.
Anything else?
That's everything.
Perfect.
Yes.
That was great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Jeez, that's wonderful.
Good, Matthew.
I asked you
I
quite
teach first aid
quite a
part
few
now.
Voice
questions.
of electric vehicles in Saskatchewan.
One of the few things I could add would be that the rebate question, the only rebate that Saskatchewan had for electric or better
right.
efficient vehicles
Yes,
was
for
actually
everyone.
canceled
Yeah, that was
several
taken
years
away,
ago.
right?
Yeah.
It was canceled by the current president of the Canadian Association of Petroleum Producers.
Who is
Wonderful.
what minister?
Was the minister at the time.
Yes,
That makes sense.
but
Yeah.
still a minister.
Still seems corrupt to me.
Yeah.
Could we do one more interview?
Yeah.
And I mean, would you be willing to say that too?
Yeah, I can say that.
That'd be great. Would you mind?
Let's just go. What?
Oh yeah, sorry. I just saw you
Let's just
packing up.
move.
So.
Yeah.
Sure.
Let's just move behind.
Okay.
No,